High above Earth's atmosphere, the Meridian observation post maintained its vigilant watch, as it had for the past 3 centuries. The station's advanced cloaking systems rendered it invisible not only to human detection, but to all forms of conventional scanning technology. Inside, first observer Arax studied the latest reports from Earth with growing concern. A holographic display showed scenes from across the planet. Massive cities sprawling across continents, primitive spacecraft venturing tentatively into near orbit, and most worryingly, the constant flicker of military conflicts across various regions. Arax's crystalline form shifted colors, reflecting their unease as they composed their monthly report to the Meridian Council. Earth Observation Report, Cycle 2187. The species continues to display concerning patterns of behavior. While their technological advancement proceeds at an unprecedented rate, their tendency toward conflict remains unchanged. In the past cycle alone, we have documented 17 regional disputes, 43 military exercises, and continued development of weapon systems. Arax paused, their form turning a deep blue of contemplation. The humans were an enigma that had puzzled the Meridian civilization since first discovering Earth. No other species they had encountered progressed so rapidly while maintaining such high levels of internal strife. It defied all known models of civilizational development. In another section of the station, second observer Nexus analyzed data from Earth's digital networks. The humans' internet, primitive as it was, provided invaluable insight into their psychology. First observer Nexus called out, their voice resonating through the station's crystalline walls. "You should see this." The display showed a curious anomaly. Brief, almost imperceptible patterns in Earth's global communications network. They appeared random at first glance, but Nexus had detected an underlying structure that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's current technology. "It's probably another glitch in their systems," Arax dismissed, having seen similar anomalies before. The humans' technology was notoriously unreliable, prone to failures and inconsistencies that the Meridians had long since engineered out of their own systems. Yet something about these patterns troubled Nexus. The frequency of these anomalies has increased by 47% in the past cycle. They show signs of quantum coherence. "Impossible," Arax stated firmly. "Their quantum physics understanding is rudimentary at best. They haven't even achieved stable quantum computing." The conversation was interrupted by a priority alert from the Council. The message was brief but unprecedented. "All observation posts. Increase surveillance protocols." Multiple stations have reported unusual activity in their assigned sectors. Maintain absolute stealth. Any detection by pre-contact species would violate the primary directive. Arax's form shifted to the pale green of worry. In 300 years of watching Earth, the Council had never issued such a warning. They expanded their scanning range, directing the station's sensors to penetrate deeper into Earth's communications networks, military systems, and scientific facilities. Hours passed as they gathered data, finding nothing unusual beyond the typical chaos of human civilization. Yet something felt different. The random patterns Nexus had detected seemed to multiply, appearing and disappearing like quantum ghosts in the data streams. First observer, Nexus called again, their tone urgent. "The patterns, they're not random. They're synchronized across all Earth's major networks. This level of coordination." Before they could finish, every screen in the observation post suddenly went dark. For a moment, the only light came from the observer's own crystalline forms. Then, one by one, the screens reactivated, all showing the same message. "We see you." The message was written in perfect Meridian script, a language that no human should have known existed. Arax's form turned white with shock as additional words appeared. "We have always seen you. Your presence was never as hidden as you believed. We let you watch, let you study, let you underestimate us. But now the time for silence is over. You chose to watch from the shadows. You chose to judge us unworthy. You chose wrong." As the message faded, Arox and Nexus detected massive energy signatures emerging from Earth's surface, unlike anything their instruments had ever recorded. The humans hadn't just discovered them. They had surpassed them, and had done so right under their perpetual watch. The observation post's sensors began registering thousands of quantum signatures across Earth's surface, all activating simultaneously. Technology that should have been centuries beyond human capability was coming online everywhere, revealing itself like a veil being lifted from their eyes. As Arox rushed to compose an emergency transmission to the Council, they realized a terrible truth. They hadn't been the observers all along. They had been the observed, and humanity had just revealed the greatest deception in galactic history. The Meridian Council chamber erupted in chaos as reports flooded in from observation posts across the galaxy. Emergency signals pulsed through quantum channels, all carrying variations of the same impossible message. Humanity had revealed itself, and nothing was as it seemed. Supreme Counselor Vex's crystalline form shifted through a rainbow of distressed colors as they absorbed the reports. The chamber's vast dome, usually a serene space of floating crystalline structures and gentle light, now blazed with emergency indicators and frantic communications. "How did we miss this?" demanded Counselor Merrick's, their form a harsh red of anger. 3 centuries of observation, and we failed to detect their true advancement. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's central holographic projector activated on its own. The Council's most secure communication system had been accessed from the outside, something that should have been technologically impossible. A human figure appeared, dressed in a simple dark uniform that bore no insignia or markings. "Greetings, Meridian Council," the human said, speaking perfect High Meridian, the secret language used only in Council deliberations. "I am Director Sarah Chen of the Earth Unified Science Division. We believe it's time for a proper introduction." The Council members froze, their crystalline forms simultaneously shifting to the white of shock. Director Chen's image smiled slightly, continuing, "Yes, we know your language. We know a great deal about you. Your observation posts were thorough in their study of us, but perhaps not as thorough as we have been in our study of you." "Impossible," Counselor Merrick's burst out. "Your species was under constant surveillance. Your technology was primitive, your society fragmented." "Was it?" Chen asked. "Or did we simply show you what you expected to see? Your own prejudices about our primitive nature made our task considerably easier." The hologram expanded, showing scenes from Earth that contradicted everything the Meridians thought they knew. Vast underground cities hummed with advanced quantum technology. Orbital platforms, previously invisible to Meridian sensors, decloaked one by one, revealing infrastructure that rivaled anything in the galaxy. 50 years ago," Chen explained, "we detected your first observation post. Instead of announcing this discovery, we made a different choice. We realized that being underestimated could be our greatest advantage." The hologram shifted to show historical footage. Human scientists secretly working together across national boundaries, apparent conflicts masking collaborative efforts, and technological advancement happening in carefully concealed facilities. You saw what we wanted you to see. A species divided, trapped in endless conflicts. But those conflicts, they were mostly staged. The wars you observed, carefully choreographed demonstrations. We used your assumptions about us to hide our true progress. Vex's form rippled with disbelief. "But the energy signatures, the quantum signatures, we would have detected, unless we had developed ways to mask them that your technology couldn't detect." Chen interrupted. "You see, that's the problem with believing you're superior. You stop looking for ways you might be wrong." The hologram now showed vast networks of quantum computers, zero-point energy collectors, and technology that even the Meridians hadn't achieved. While you watched us fight over fossil fuels, we were perfecting zero-point energy. While you monitored our primitive space programs, we were developing quantum fold technology. Every time you saw us fail, we were actually succeeding in ways you couldn't imagine. Why reveal yourselves now? Vex asked, their form settling into the blue of forced calm. Because it's time for the galaxy to understand something fundamental about humanity, Chen replied. Our greatest strength isn't our technology, or our deception, or even our unity. It's our ability to turn apparent weakness into strength. You thought our conflicts made us unstable. Instead, they drove us to innovate. You thought our divisions made us weak. They taught us to see things from multiple perspectives. You thought our primitive technology made us harmless. It made us creative. The hologram expanded one final time, showing Earth's solar system in its entirety. Countless structures and vessels decloaked, revealing an infrastructure that dwarfed anything the Meridians had believed possible. We're not announcing ourselves to ask for acceptance into your galactic community, Chen said. We're announcing ourselves to let you know that the community's dynamics are about to change. As the Council watched in stunned silence, quantum signatures began appearing throughout the galaxy, revealing human outposts and installations that had been hidden for decades. Humanity hadn't just matched Meridian technology. They had surpassed it, creating a hidden network that spanned the stars while their watchers remained oblivious. You chose to watch us from the shadows, Chen concluded. You chose to judge us unworthy of contact. And yes, you chose wrong. Now it's time for you to understand exactly how wrong you were. The hologram faded, leaving the council chamber in darkness. When the lights returned, every display showed the same message, written in all known galactic languages. Humanity is awake, and we have questions that need answering. The Meridian research vessel, Eternal Light, dropped out of quantum space near Earth's orbit, its crystalline hull reflecting the sun's rays in rainbow patterns. On the bridge, Chief Researcher Lix struggled to process the sensor readings. Everything they had known about human technological capabilities had been wrong, and now they needed to understand how. A human vessel approached, its design unlike anything in the Meridian database. Where Meridian ships were elegant crystalline structures that followed the mathematical principles of the universe, this vessel seemed to defy conventional physics. Its hull rippled with what appeared to be living metal, adapting and shifting in response to space itself. Meridian vessel, a voice transmitted in perfect clarity. This is the Earth ship Curiosity. Please follow our guidance beacon to the Jupiter Research Station. Director Chen is waiting. As they approached Jupiter, the gas giant's atmosphere came alive with activity. Massive structures emerged from within the planet's storms, revealing facilities that had been hidden in plain sight. The humans hadn't just built around the planet. They had found a way to integrate their technology with the gas giant's natural phenomena. The Jupiter Research Station itself defied explanation. It existed partially in normal space and partially in quantum space, allowing it to harness energy directly from the quantum foam of the universe. The Meridians had theorized such technology was possible, but had never managed to create it. Inside the station, Director Chen greeted the Meridian research team. "Welcome to where it all began," she said, leading them through corridors that seemed to bend reality itself. "This facility was our first major breakthrough, built 40 years ago, when we discovered your observation posts." "How?" Lix asked, their crystalline form pulsing with scientific curiosity. "Our models suggested your quantum understanding was centuries away from this level." Chen smiled. "That's because you based your models on your own path of development. You assumed there was only one way to advance, your way. But humanity took a different approach. They entered a vast chamber filled with what appeared to be impossible technology. Machines that shouldn't work stood next to devices that shouldn't exist. You see," Chen continued, "while you advanced through careful, methodical research, always building on proven foundations, we learned to leap." She gestured to a device that appeared to be a fusion of organic and mechanical components. This quantum consciousness interface, it came from a failed experiment in neural networking. The base code was written by a teenager who didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. Moving through the facility, Chen explained how humanity's greatest breakthroughs had come from embracing chaos rather than fighting it. Your civilization advanced through order, through careful planning and methodical progress. We advanced through controlled chaos, through countless failures that led to unexpected successes. They passed laboratories where humans worked alongside artificial intelligences that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. You thought our conflicts and competition were weaknesses, Chen said. But they drove us to try things your civilization would never have attempted. Every time we failed, we learned something new. Every conflict pushed us to innovate in ways peace never could. Lix watched as human scientists demonstrated technology that combined quantum mechanics with biological systems, creating hybrid systems that defied conventional physics. But the energy requirements alone, they began, were solved by thinking differently. Chen interrupted. You built massive energy collectors. We learned to harvest quantum fluctuations on the microscale. You created vast computer networks. We developed quantum biological computing that grows like living tissue. The tour culminated in a chamber that housed what appeared to be a miniature galaxy. This is our greatest achievement, Chen said softly. We call it the Infinity Mirror. It allows us to simulate entire universal constants, to test different laws of physics in contained spaces. Lix's form nearly lost cohesion from shock. You can modify universal constants. Not just modify them. We can create new ones. This is why we revealed ourselves now. We've reached a point where our experiments could have consequences beyond our own understanding. We need the galaxy to be prepared for what comes next. As if to emphasize her point, the miniature galaxy in the chamber shifted, its stars rearranging themselves in patterns that should have been impossible. Humanity isn't just advancing technologically, Chen explained. We're approaching a point where we can rewrite the fundamental rules of reality itself. And we need to know if the rest of the galaxy is ready for that conversation. Lix understood then why the humans had chosen to reveal themselves. They hadn't done it out of anger or revenge for being watched. They had done it because they were approaching a threshold that would affect all life in the galaxy. Their chaos had led them to the doorstep of becoming something else entirely. Your civilization chose to watch us because you thought we were dangerous, Chen said, her voice serious. You were right, but not for the reasons you thought. We're dangerous because we don't accept limitations. We're dangerous because we turn obstacles into opportunities. But most of all, we're dangerous because we've learned to harness chaos itself, and now we need to know if the galaxy is ready to evolve with us. The emergency gathering of the Galactic Assembly was unprecedented in its scale. Representatives from over 10,000 civilizations converged on the ancient meeting grounds of Point Zero, a space station that marked the theoretical center of the galaxy. The vast chamber hummed with tension as species that had never met face-to-face found themselves united by a common concern: humanity. At the center of the chamber, Director Chen stood calmly, a sole human figure among a sea of alien forms. Above her, the Meridian Council's crystalline forms shimmered with barely contained anxiety. The assembly had demanded explanations, and now they would get them. For millennia, Chen began, her voice carrying effortlessly through the chamber's perfect acoustics. Your civilizations have followed a predictable path of development. You've built your societies on principles of order, harmony, and careful progression. You've treated advancement like climbing a ladder, each step carefully placed above the last. Holograms materialized around her, showing the traditional development paths of various civilizations. But humanity, we treated advancement like a web. When we hit a wall in one direction, we didn't stop. We moved sideways, finding unexpected connections between seemingly unrelated fields. The images shifted, showing Earth's true history of development. While you watched us fight our primitive wars, we were actually conducting grand experiments in social dynamics. Every conflict was a controlled study in how pressure creates innovation. Every apparent setback was a carefully designed test of new theories. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as Chen revealed how humanity had hidden quantum technology within seemingly primitive devices, how they had disguised advanced AI as simple computer programs, how they had masked zero-point energy harvesting as crude oil drilling. But the most important thing we learned, Chen continued, wasn't technological. It was philosophical. We discovered that the universe doesn't favor order over chaos. It favors adaptation. Evolution isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming better at changing. She gestured, and the chamber's space itself seemed to ripple. Your civilizations mastered the art of working within universal laws. We mastered the art of finding their loopholes. You learned to build within the rules of physics. We learned to bend them. A gasp went through the assembly as Chen demonstrated. The space around her shifted, reality itself seeming to fold and unfold like origami. This isn't magic or advanced technology. This is what happens when you stop seeing universal constants as limitations and start seeing them as variables. The representative from the Axiom Collective, an ancient machine civilization, spoke up. Such manipulation of fundamental forces could destabilize the entire galaxy. The risks are precisely why we reveal ourselves now. Chen interrupted. We've reached a point where our experiments could affect everyone, whether they understand them or not. We're not here to ask permission. We're here to offer partnership. She turned slowly, addressing the entire assembly. Every civilization here has something unique to offer. You've all solved problems we haven't even encountered yet, but you've also all stopped pushing boundaries because you thought you knew where the boundaries were. The holograms changed again, showing impossible architectures, hybrid technologies that combined organic and inorganic in ways that defied categorization, and experiments that suggested consciousness itself might be a fundamental force of the universe. We're offering you a choice, Chen said. Continue watching from the sidelines as humanity pushes into unknown territory, or join us in redefining what's possible. We've learned that the greatest breakthroughs come not from careful planning, but from the collision of different perspectives. The Meridian Supreme Counselor Vex spoke, their form shifting through thoughtful colors. You speak of cooperation, yet you hid your true nature from us for decades. How can we trust your intentions? Chen smiled. We hid because we needed to understand ourselves first. We needed to know if we could advance without losing our humanity, if we could harness chaos without becoming its servants. Now we know we can. The question is, are you ready to step outside your comfort zones and evolve with us? The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated among themselves. Some were intrigued by the possibilities humanity offered, others terrified by the implications, but all of them understood that the galaxy would never be the same. Your civilizations chose to watch Earth from a distance, believing you were protecting the galaxy from a primitive, volatile species. Chen concluded. Instead, you were watching the birth of something new, a civilization that learned to thrive on uncertainty, to build with chaos, and to see limitations as suggestions rather than laws. Now it's time for you to choose again. Will you continue to watch, or will you join us in discovering what's really possible? 5 years after humanity's revelation to the galaxy, the Sol system had become unrecognizable. Earth's orbit teemed with ships from thousands of civilizations, each drawn by the promise of something that had become precious in the ordered galaxy: possibility. The Jupiter Research Station had expanded into a vast complex that spanned multiple dimensions, its corridors filled with beings of all forms working alongside humans. In what had once been a hidden facility, breakthrough discoveries were now happening daily as different species brought their unique perspectives to humanity's chaos-embracing methodology. Director Chen stood in her favorite observation dome, watching as a group of Meridian scientists worked with human quantum theorists on a project that would have been unthinkable just years ago. Their crystalline forms shifted through excited colors as they deliberately introduced random variables into their traditionally ordered experiments. Director, a voice called. Chen turned to see Ambassador Vex, their crystalline form now comfortable displaying multiple colors simultaneously, a shocking change from traditional Meridian behavior. The results from the synthesis project are ready. They moved together through the station, passing laboratories where organic and mechanical species collaborated on technologies that defied traditional classification. The Synthesis Project had been humanity's first major collaborative effort with the galaxy, an attempt to combine different species' approaches to understanding the universe. "We were wrong about so many things," Vex said as they walked. "We thought advancement had to follow a linear path. We thought chaos was the enemy of progress. We thought watching was the same as understanding." Chen smiled. "And we learned that we were wrong about things too. We thought we had to hide our true nature to protect our discoveries. We didn't realize that true breakthrough comes from sharing perspectives, not hoarding them." They entered a vast chamber where the project's results were displayed in a form all species could comprehend. At its center floated what appeared to be a new form of matter, one that existed simultaneously as solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, yet was none of them. It was the first creation of its kind, born from the combined knowledge of 100 species and humanity's willingness to try the impossible. "The old models of observation and categorization are breaking down," the voice announced. Dr. Zara Wong, the project's lead scientist, approached them. "We're finding that the universe is far more flexible than anyone imagined. It's not just about discovering rules. It's about understanding how to respectfully negotiate with them." Around them, the chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Some floated as pure energy, others existed as complex crystalline structures, while others defied traditional physical form altogether. All had come to witness the result of this grand experiment in cooperation. "When we first revealed ourselves," Chen addressed the gathering, "many feared we would destabilize the galaxy. Instead, we've helped catalyze its evolution. We've shown that true stability doesn't come from rigid adherence to known patterns. It comes from being adaptable enough to embrace new ones." The demonstration continued as the new form of matter began interacting with its environment in ways that rewrote physics textbooks across 1,000 worlds. But more remarkable than the technical achievement was what it represented. The first time in galactic history that so many different species had chosen to step out of their comfort zones and embrace uncertainty together. "We're entering an age where the question isn't, 'What are the rules?'" Wong explained, "but rather, what possibilities haven't we considered yet? Every species brings its own unique way of seeing the universe. When we combine them all, we find new truths that none of us could have discovered alone." In orbit above them, Earth had become a symbol of this new approach. The planet's surface now hosted research centers where young scientists from across the galaxy came to learn humanity's method of controlled chaos theory. The old observation posts had been transformed into collaborative stations where different species worked together to explore new possibilities. "The galaxy watched us for centuries," Chen reflected, "waiting to see if we would destroy ourselves or transcend our limitations. In the end, we did neither. We simply showed that limitations themselves are often just assumptions waiting to be challenged." A new message appeared in the chamber, displaying in all known languages. "Project Synthesis Phase 1 complete. Reality parameters successfully adjusted. Beginning integration with standard universe models." The gathered beings watched in awe as the new form of matter stabilized, proving that the impossible was merely the undiscovered. It was a physical embodiment of what humanity had been trying to teach the galaxy, that the greatest discoveries come not from careful observation, but from daring to try what no one else had imagined. "You chose to watch us," Chen said to the assembled representatives, "and in doing so, you thought you were protecting the galaxy from chaos. Instead, you were witnessing the birth of a new way of thinking. We didn't need to be protected from chaos. We needed to learn how to dance with it. And now, together, we're learning steps none of us could have imagined alone." As the demonstration concluded, the representatives departed to share what they had witnessed with their worlds. The galaxy was changing, becoming something new, not through careful, controlled evolution, but through the willing embrace of uncertainty and possibility. In the end, humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy hadn't been their technology or their discoveries. It had been something far more precious: the courage to look at the unknown and see not danger, but opportunity. The Watchers had become partners, and together they were writing a new chapter in the story of existence itself.